Hello, sisters. Hope some of you will be joining me tonight to talk about Cerridwyn, the Celtic goddess, dark goddess. And so with Google, if you're on board, you can just join the Hangout. And I'm just going to trust that you'll figure it out. There's also a way for you to write into, there's a group chat. So if you look on the left, you'll see some little icons. And the very first one is the group chat one. And then it'll open up a chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So I hope that you will join me. And if not, I'm just going to go ahead and, talk about Cerridwyn a little bit. Hoping you will have some questions and comments because I'm eager to hear how this course has been for you so far. We're about halfway into it and entering the full moon window, which is usually about a 3-day window. The actual full moon in Taurus is tomorrow, Thursday, November 6th. And it'll be at about, I think it's 5:23 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully you will, find a way to do a little ritual around the full moon. Full moon is always a good time to charge your crystals. You can put your wishes that you made on the new moon. You can put them out if you want. And it's also a time I like to sort of, as the full moon window starts to wane, to start to do some releasing. So maybe by Saturday or Sunday, you could, if you wanted to do some releasing, that's a good time to start as the moon wanes for the next couple of weeks. So let's do a little calling in of sacred space. And we can do this by lighting a candle. Well, I've got a little cedar smudge I can use, and we'll call in the 4 directions. And it looked like I had a viewer for a minute, so I don't know. Sometimes with Google Hangouts, I know it takes people a little while to get it figured out. So I'm hoping you're all seeing me okay, and this is working the way it's supposed to. It says I'm broadcasting, so hoping for the best. Okay, so I'm going to take some cedar smudge, and I'm going to light it. I have a little cauldron-y container here, a copper small cauldron, and you can kind of just join me at home. Just have an owl feather here. And let's call in the 4 directions. So hail to the guardians of the east, the power of air. We ask for your breath of life and the spirit of Awen to be with us tonight. Hail to the guardians of the south, powers of fire. We ask for you to ignite us with passion and creative action on this full moon. And hail to the guardians of the west, powers of water. We ask to be open to feel all of our emotions, to be in the flow of love on this Taurus full moon. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, Aphrodite. And remember to stir the cauldron. And hail to the guardians of the north, powers of earth. We ask for your strength and grounding presence tonight. And throughout this reed moon or beaver moon window. So thank you, and we ask for spirit to be with us. And again, with Cerridwyn, we are breathing in the spirit of Awen. That's the Celtic term for this sort of breath or spirit of inspiration and poetic inspiration. So it's also the power of prophecy. So divination is an important thing to be doing this month, working with Cerridwyn to get your oracle cards out, tarot or your runes or any oracle cards. Of course, I like to use a lot of different goddess oracle cards. And I might share with you some of those. Some of you may have these or not. So this month, so there's goddess guidance oracle cards. These are the Doreen Virtue cards. And they usually they just have a goddess and a little saying in a very small book to go with it. But let's pull a card and see what card comes up. I'm just going to randomly pull a card, and I got Guinevere, True Love. And that's a good card, again, for this Taurus full moon. And it says, the romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. So may that be true for all of us. And we worked, some of you were with me last year when we worked with Guinevere, where she was one of the goddesses that we worked with. And she's about sovereignty and our queen-like nature. The king in the Celtic tradition had to lie with the queen or the goddess of the earth, which was Guinevere in the British tradition and Welsh too, in order to be sovereign king of the land. That consummation of the hieros gamos, the sacred marriage, had to take place for the king to be in his full power. So there used to be quite an acknowledgement of the feminine, the sacred feminine, and how much it was needed for the rulership of the land. So another oracle is the Goddess Oracle, which is by Amy Sophia Marashinsky and illustrated by Harana Janto. And I like a lot of Harana Janto's goddess illustrations. I'm sure you've seen some. And we'll pull a card, and we got Baba Yaga. She's the wild woman. She's a witch. So she's kind of a sister of Cerridwyn, and a crone and a magic maker. So if you're not familiar with her story, it is in Women Who Run with the Wolves, and it's called Vasilisa the Brave. I believe it's sometimes she's called Vasilisa the Beautiful, sometimes it's Vasilisa the Brave. But that's a wonderful story. And in that story, Baba Yaga is very much like Aphrodite in the story of Aphrodite and Psyche, whereas the dark goddess gives the young girl who comes to her home in the middle of the forest these 3 tasks, or it might be 4, to complete. And when she does so, she is initiated and earns her stripes. And we talk about that with Cerridwyn as well, that she really invites us into an initiation process. So looking to see if I've got anybody joining me. I see I have some viewers, but maybe you're just watching. If you want to join in and ask questions in the group chat, I should be able to see those. Hopefully you can find them, the way to do that. And we go look and see if anyone else is here. Okay, well, I'm going to just keep going. So another deck of oracle cards are the Goddess Knowledge cards by the illustrations are by Susan Seddon Boulay, and you're probably familiar with these. They're very beautiful dark cards, and these cards have the written oracle piece on the back of them, so there's no book to go with them. And if I draw one of these, I get Pele. And, you know, Pele too is a dark goddess. She's a Hawaiian volcano goddess. Has to do with anger and, you know, releasing the fire that we carry within us. Says she took refuge in the glowing cauldron of Mount Kilauea, where she receives the souls of the dead and regenerates them with fire. So this again is very much similar to Persephone and even Cerridwyn, who is associated with the underworld and her cauldron, which is said to reside there. So thank you, Pele, for being with us. She stands for the molten, fierce aspect of life that is unable to do anything halfway. She reminds us that even in the midst of fiery eruption, there is creation and new life. So that is true. So this is a creative time, you know, this Taurus new moon. I keep saying new moon when I mean full moon. When the moon is full, that is when we're at our fullest aspect, almost like we're pregnant and ready to give birth. So this is a good time to work on your potions, make your potions. If you haven't made your altar, I know a lot of you have, this would be a great time to get busy and find all the elements that you want to put together for creating the altar. And, you know, make soul collage cards or any sort of art. I know Lisa Bollinger is making a beautiful journal. She calls it Smash Book. That's, you know, part writing journal, but really it sounds like it has a lot of, you know, images and ideas that she's gathered around the archetype of Cerridwyn. So I was going to share with you one other oracle deck related to the goddess, and that is the goddess Tarot. Chris Walter is the, I think she's both the writer and the illustrator. And these are fun too. So all of the major arcana cards are different goddesses that stand in for the different archetypes of the major arcana. So I have one other that I could share with you, which is the Magdalene Oracle, which I really like and got last year when we were working with the two Marys, the Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene. And these are really sweet, simple cards. Again, I'll just draw one tonight and see what comes up. Oh, Sacred Sexuality. Again, another great card for the Taurus full moon. You know, again, Taurus being ruled by Venus, the goddess of love, and sacred sexuality. That is what she's all about. So maybe you have a partner that you could practice that with over the next few nights. And if you don't have a partner, there's no reason why you can't practice it with yourself. We can still bring in sacred sexuality, you know, for ourselves and with ourselves. So I invite you to do that. And, you know, have an orgasmic meditation. So let's see, what can we talk about? I'm really curious to hear how things are going, how you're resonating with Cerridwyn, but this may not end up being an interactive one, but I'm still holding out hope that someone will join me or be able to chat with me. And so I'm going to try something. No, that looks good. So, okay, well, I can worry about it. Another thing I wanted to share with you is this book, Women, or Women, I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but it is a calendar and guide book that I get every year and it's wonderful for tracking the moon cycles and where the sun is, and you know, the astrological signs. And it's got lots of great lore and beautiful illustrations in it. So it's just an invaluable tool to have as a priestess. And, you know, just being able to day to day know, you know, what's happening, what's coming. Tracking the wheel of the year as well. And there's lovely poems and art in it. So I keep these, and at the end of the year, I take out the images and use them on soul collage cards. So it's very useful. All right, so let's see. So we're at this full moon, and I have a little saying that a quote that says, "Wild moon woman, you were not made to be tame. You are an earthquake shaking loose everything that is not soul. Shake, woman, shake." And that was a quote by Elise Morgan, and I will put it up in the Goddess Temple tomorrow, because I think it's such a great quote, and it just reminds us that we are wild women at heart, and it's important for us to really bring out that inner wild woman in us, which is what Women Who Run with the Wolves is all about. And really, at the heart of what I want you to really get from my courses, my e-courses on the goddesses, is you know, how to live your wild-hearted existence, how to be true to yourself, how to own your power, not give away your power to anyone, to not worry about what other people are going to think anymore. That is the wise woman way, and you know, that's the crone wisdom as well. So Cerridwyn is a crone. She's a mother and a crone, but her crone wisdom really allows us to hold our power and know our full wisdom and power, to know what matters most, and to stop caring what other people think. Stop trying to live up to other people's expectations. And, you know, it doesn't mean you just do anything you want and go about sort of without integrity. It's still about living in integrity and always doing your best, which I think, you know, we need to do in the world. But it also means we get to make mistakes and we get to learn from them and grow. And that's what makes us wise women and crones. And that's really Cerridwyn's story. What she teaches us is to learn. She makes some mistakes. You know, her hubris, in a sense, comes into play. She makes this potion and uses all of her knowledge and ability to create it and stir it up in the cauldron. Well, Gwion does the stirring, as we know. This young apprentice, this little, boy or fool, who she, you know, thinks is harmless and knows nothing. And, you know, she just sort of hires him to do this job. And so he stirs it for a year and a day. And then, as you know, the last day, the drops of the potion fly out of the cauldron and land on him, and he licks the wound with scalding skin and ingests the 3 drops meant for her son, Morfred. And this propels him into the initiation into as the wise man, but it starts out, you know, as a fool. And his initiation really also sets off Cerridwyn's initiation. And when we're, you know, in an initiation process, we are learning. And we are stepping into the unknown. We don't know what's around the next corner. And we have to give up our need to know, our need to control. And that's one of Cerridwyn's lessons, or that is part of her wisdom. And really, I would say it is the wisdom of all of the dark goddesses, is that, you have to be willing to let go. And, just step into the darkness, learn to be comfortable there, and see what happens. Allow something to happen to you. You can explore, you can seek, and you can certainly ask questions, and you will find the answer. But it may not be the answer you expect or thought it would be. So it's a matter of, a matter of detachment from the outcome, the willingness to not know what the outcome is going to be. And, this applies to a lot of things in life. It applies to relationships. It applies to, a new job. It applies to giving birth to a child, or giving birth to a creative endeavor of some sort. We never know how it's going to turn out. All we know is, we need to take a step forward. We need to commit. We need to do something. We need, whereas before there was nothing, now we're going to create something. And we don't have to know what it is when we start. It's often enough just to know that this is what I need to do. I need to step forward and take one step on this path, and then another, and then another, and it will lead us to where we need to be, if we're open and if we're willing. So, Cerridwyn is a magician and a witch, sorceress, and these are archetypal qualities that, we women have within us. We carry it. It's, I think, in our DNA. It goes way back to the beginning of time, and to the beginning of civilization and humanity. And, we women were these holders of the mystery and the sacred, and we do have this amazing magical ability to give birth and to grow life inside of us. So that is our, that's the original cauldron. And so we are living, breathing cauldrons in a sense. And I love the cauldron archetype because it just seems to apply to so many things. And it's just such a beautiful image of this open vessel, this bowl, this pregnant bowl, in a sense that we stir life in it. We stir the creative juices, and we need all of the elements to make something from a cauldron. We need the fire, obviously, to heat it up and heat up our passions and our creations. And that fire, again, comes from within and without. And we need air to mix with the waters, or whatever the potion is in the cauldron. And those two combine, and of course we need air for fire as well. And then earth, is the base or the ground that, holds the cauldron. And so we need that earthy element to begin with. And, we as women, earth and water are the feminine elements. So just working with those archetypal elements can be really helpful to us in owning our power and understanding really, who we are in the world. And everything that grows comes from the earth. And again, that is the place where, life comes forth, where our food comes from. And then water is the source of all life. And we are made up mostly of water. So, we women have our watery wombs, those cauldrons as well. So just getting used to, working with the 4 elements, working with the seasons, understanding where we're moving is important part of magic and mystery, and the feminine mysteries, the sacred mysteries of feminine. So I see I have some viewers, but nobody's joining the chat, and maybe because you haven't figured out how, or maybe you're just wanting to watch it for now, but okay, so be it. So I'm curious to know, I hope people are doing some journaling. This idea of shape-shifting is one that also comes into play in terms of our lives. We're constantly shifting our shapes, our identities throughout our life. And one of the journal prompts, which I hope you play with a little bit, is this idea of how many shapes or how many different shapes have you taken in your life? If you really start to think about it in those terms, how do you see yourself during the first 10 years of your life? And then the second decade of your life, the third decade, and to really be able to have this overview of your life and what form you took. And I would even invite you, or suggest that you think of it, is there an animal that embodies this this period of your life? Like maybe the playful otter for the first 10 years. And then from age 10 to 20, what animal exemplifies who you were, what shape you took. It might be I think it would be an interesting exercise to play with. And you can break it down further, but just in terms of decades, sometimes that can be really helpful to see how we do shift and change. I mean, I am at the end of my 50s decade, so I'm able to look back and see how much shape-shifting has gone on in my life. And plus, not to mention the maiden, mother, crone shape-shifting that we do, I think, sort of continuously as women, regardless of what period of your life you're in. We still access the maiden and the mother and the crone day to day and week to week. So when you're feeling playful and laughing and having a good time and sort of not having many cares and maybe dancing or playing a game or interacting with children, you might find yourself really feeling this maiden-like aspect. And I would even say as a lover, perhaps too, that we can really tap into the maiden. And then, of course, there's the mother, which whenever we're nurturing anyone, our pets, our children, our husbands or boyfriends or partners, or growing a garden, we're in this mothering, nurturing, generative aspect, or creating something as well. And so, we could find ourselves feeling this mother aspect many times throughout the day. Cooking over a stove, making a meal. And then the crone is the aspect that is the wise woman within. So this is the one, the part of us that knows from experience. It is the part of us that knows what matters most, and again, doesn't really care too much about what other people think. When you reach that point in life, or you certainly don't have to wait until you're an old woman to get there, to decide that living authentically is the most important thing for you to do, and you're really not going to live your life for anybody else. You're not going to live anyone else's dream except your own. And the crone wisdom is intuitive, and she makes up her mind. She doesn't have to sit in indecision. The crone part of us pretty much knows, and if we don't know, all we have to do is go within and really ask ourselves, what is in my best interest, and the answer will come. And the crone part of us is the part that really enjoys just being and not so much doing. The doing aspect is really the mother. Mothers are busy generating stuff, being productive. That's the full moon period. But as the moon starts to wane, and we're also, at the end of this, the wheel of the year, the seasons, we've just left Samhain, and we're now approaching the winter solstice, which will be on, I think, December 21st. So, we're in the dark part of the year right now, and that's the time of the crone and the Kaliak, who's said to walk the earth during this time. And, that's the dark goddess aspect. And then, if you remember, for those of you who were with us when we started this course at the beginning of the year with Bridget, the story of Bridget is that she is both the maiden and the crone herself. And, the crone gives way to the maiden, Bridget, when spring arrives. And, that's soon after Imbolc, or Bridget's Day, around February 2nd. So, we're still in the crone period, and we've also just left Samhain, again, time of the ancestors, and the veil is thin, and the Day of the Dead. So this is a good time, because the nights are longer and the days are shorter, to really go within and, commune a bit with your ancestors. I hope you've taken the guided journey to meet Cerridwyn, and also call forth one of your loved ones who's passed on, and see what message they have for you. If we open ourselves to that, they're right with us, and we can speak to them, and they can speak to us, and it's not a frightening thing. It's it's a beautiful thing that we, life and death are so intertwined, and that's the whole idea of the underworld, is that these the spirits of those who've gone before live there, these souls, and we go down there for our own wisdom, and it's kind of like meeting the wisdom of our ancestors, and we can invoke their memory and bring it up into our heart, and also this chakra point of the third eye, which is right here, and Lori Maroff posted something in the Goddess Temple Facebook group about the pineal gland, which is related to the third eye. And this is our area of second sight, and our intuitive ability, and our ability to see beyond, kind of clairvoyance, the place where the right and left brain meet. So all these higher aspects, and aspects related to the crone wisdom, are contained in this third eye. So notice this month what you're aware of, and what you're picking up, and what messages are you getting from beyond. And like I said, all you have to do is ask. If you want to receive a message and you open yourself to that, you will. So I had a lovely journey where I saw both my parents, and spoke with them and got a message from them. And it was a very healing message and journey that I took. I also took a shamanic journey recently at a retreat with Pixie Campbell. Again, I had a sort of, I would say, a conflicted, somewhat difficult relationship with my mother, who died 2 years ago. And, there's been a lot of healing since then. Certainly before then, I've been healing the mother wound for a number of years. And so I got some messages from her and my grandmothers, who I believe, have helped me, and I've helped them. So by healing this mother wound, which was passed down through the mother line, I feel that, I've healed back these generations of pain. And I was determined not to pass this down to my daughter. The message that I got from my mother and my grandmothers was that, they wish that they had had this knowledge, and that they were seekers too, and that they were sort of laying the groundwork for me to do what I did, to finally find some healing and completion. And I feel like, tie up some karmic energy. And so in a sense, it feels like we're all free. And, it was really a beautiful thing. So I invite you to do that. And, you could even get a message from an ancestor that you don't even know. And could be from way back in the past. It could be a past life. So, if you stay open to magic and these kinds of experiences, then all kinds of healing and magic and miracles can take place. And that's what Cerridwyn is all about, is opening ourselves up to the magic of life. And I'm hoping you all are going to make the potion. I got all my ingredients together, and I'm actually going to be doing it either tomorrow on the full moon or Friday. I'm going to start it, and I'm really looking forward to following Letitia's instructions and seeing how that elixir turns out, and making the incense and all that. So I hope you all are going to try that as well. So what else can I tell you about Cerridwyn? Let's see. Well, since we didn't really chat here, if you have any questions about her, or certainly any comments that you want to make about how you've been resonating with this archetype, please post them in the Facebook group, or if you're not in the Facebook group, email me and I can share it there too. But I'd really like to know what you like and don't like about her. I did talk to one woman in the group who said she didn't like her. And, but then the more she talked about her, the more she sort of found that she did kind of like about her and relate to her. So one of the things about Cerridwyn is that she has these shadowy qualities. Every dark goddess does, and they can be kind of scary and intimidating and formidable. But that's kind of the beauty of Cerridwyn, is that her son Morfran represents these dark qualities that we're often ashamed of. We don't want anyone to see or know about. So there she is, really kind of acting out a lot of this, her jealousy and her envy and her rage. And, she has this murderous intent. She wants to kill Leon, and, even as he's growing in her womb. But, you know, we all have these thoughts and feelings at times in our lives. And she is transformed. I mean, she really goes, you know, through this whole shape-shifting chase. She keeps changing and going up to, you know, a higher level, both she and Guion. And it's like an alchemical process from the dark Negredo at the bottom all the way up, you know, to the Albedo at the top. And so, you know, that's what we're doing. We're learning and growing. And, you know, when we look at these shadow qualities that we have and voice them and acknowledge them and see them, then we have a chance to integrate them. If we try to deny them and hide them and pretend they don't exist and, oh God, I'm never going to admit that or talk about that aspect, you know, of myself, then, you know, they sort of have control of us. And that's when we're more likely to, you know, put our foot in our mouth and do something that we feel really foolish about, which is okay too. But the more we're able to integrate these shadow aspects and allow them and allow ourselves to make mistakes, then, you know, that's how we really achieve wholeness and individuation, you know, as that's what we're all seeking. And so it's a process, and it's a process of changing, shape-shifting. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, we human beings are, shame is really about, you know, feeling bad about who we are, feeling like there's something wrong with us, as opposed to guilt, which is something that we feel momentarily when we've done something that we regret or feel like was the wrong thing to do. And, you know, guilt can be helpful in the moment, but it is not a helpful quality to carry around with us. It's self-punishing and, you know, we don't need to carry guilt. Well, all we need to do is learn from our mistakes and then move on. So guilt is not necessary. If you're carrying guilt, you need to really shed and, you know, rid yourself of unnecessary guilt. All you have to do is own it and fix it, change it, correct it, move on, make amends if you have to, and you're done. Shame is much more toxic. You know, shame is, like I said, there must be something wrong with me, and usually we pick that idea up in childhood and carry it with us, and we can't become the queen and the goddess if we're carrying shame. It holds us down. It holds us back. And so, you know, it's important to recognize what that is and change the message. So again, we're talking about this cauldron of transformation, and throw the shame in there. Shame is like the poison, that cauldron to burst. And that's a good thing. We want that to you know, to break free and no longer be contained within us. So I guess that's about all I have to say about Cerridwyn tonight. I hope you have a beautiful full moon ritual and days of, again, because it's this full moon, that you maybe have some sacred sexuality, maybe at least, you know, love yourself, if nothing else, through this 3-day window going forward. And hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, which is coming up after this course ends, but this is good preparation for, you know, releasing and giving thanks for all of the beauty in our lives and recognizing it and becoming the prophetic, wise sage um, that we are meant to be, that is within us. So thank you, sisters, and I hope to see you back in the Goddess Temple.